Let's bring in a member of the Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California. He also is chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, good to have you with us this morning. Let's start with a bit of housekeeping. The hearing today delayed to a date to be determined. We heard from Congresswoman Lofgren that it was over a video matter. You all have seemed to have been well organized in your presentation so far. Is that all this is about?
It's just logistics, really. It's not about any witness difficulties or any division of the committee. We're just trying to make sure that we proceed in the most orderly way, that we're, we have the most professional hearings possible. And so we're making adjustments. We also continue to learn new information, but mostly this is a logistical matter.
So let's look ahead to tomorrow's hearing then, as scheduled, which will focus on the pressure that was applied to then Vice President Pence in the lead up to January 6th and on the day of January 6th. What can people expect to see and hear that we don't know already?
Well, while I can't get into too many of the specifics, like the hearings you've seen before, it will be a mix of things that the public knows, new information about the pressure campaign, potentially new images, new deposition testimony, interwoven in a way that tells the story. Because I think among the most important things we're doing in these hearings is we're showing how one thing related to another, how one pressure campaign related to another, how this effort built and built until there was this last-ditch effort to stop the counting on January 6th that led to violence. And the pressure campaign against the vice president is a very integral part of that. There are multiple lines of effort to overturn the election. Any one of them could have failed, which would have resulted in a real constitutional crisis. So you can expect to see stuff you haven't seen before, interwoven with things you have, but to tell the story in, I hope, a compelling way.
Congressman Schiff, good morning. Jonathan Lemire. In the last hearing, we heard sort of the darkly, if dangerous, comical rantings of Rudy Giuliani. But earlier in the show, we talked a lot about the Department of Justice and the former president's efforts to use DOJ inappropriately in order to throw out election results, claim there were investigations, and use that as an impetus to continue his hold on power. Talk to us about DOJ, because that's the subject of an upcoming hearing, but also just more broadly, what the committee has found about the former president's efforts to use the levers of government itself to try to stay in power.
Well, I think this is going to be a very important hearing next week. That is that, we saw at the very end a pattern that we'd seen throughout much of the Trump presidency. That is, when he didn't get the answers he wanted, he would sack people who would stand up to him, who would do the right thing. In this case, there was an effort to decapitate the leadership of the Justice Department that wouldn't go along with this effort to overturn the election, wouldn't essentially push out to the states false claims of massive fraud, wouldn't question the election the way Donald Trump wanted, but there was no evidentiary basis for. And yet also part of the story is Jeffrey Clark. And there seems to be Jeffrey Clark's at multiple points in this plot, people willing to do anything to seize power, to hold power, to advance themselves with their career. So I think it's a really important part of the story. The Justice Department is supposed to stand for justice. And here there was an effort at the very top, from the president on down, to use that department to defy the interests of justice.
Hey, Congressman, it's Sam Stein here. It strikes me there's two parallel storylines going on right now around January 6th. One is the work that you and the rest of the committee are doing right now, and the second is happening across the country with the election of a lot of Republican candidates who believe the big lie, and not only that, have said that they would not have certified the 2020 elections. So I'm wondering, how is that informing the work you do? And also, do you think that you may have moved too slowly in getting this stuff out to the public, in that there are these people who are winning critical offices who will oversee the next election?
Well, on the first point, I think it shows the enduring importance of the work we're doing, that the big lie didn't end on January 6th, that the big lie is promoted to this day, and therefore the parts of the hearings that we've been demonstrating where we show that it is a lie. There was no massive fraud, that Joe Biden did win the election, that Donald Trump knew that he'd lost, that he pushed these claims anyway, and he pushes them to this day. I think it shows more important than ever that we get that good information out. I also think in terms of did we wait too long? No. The investigations have a pace of their own. It takes you time to accumulate the evidence that we have accumulated, and we didn't want to present it until we knew, if not all the facts, enough of the facts to show the country, the conclusions that we're reaching about the president's role in this plot. But we are, and this to me is a fundamental point, our democracy today is more vulnerable than it was on January 6th because the lie that brought about that violence continues to proliferate around the country in just the manner that you described.
All right. Adam Schiff, member of the January 6th Select Committee, thank you so much for being with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Coming